And we have interpretation into Portuguese if you want to take the headphones. And here we have Elisa Polese coming directly from Germany, where she lives, but she is originally from Italy. And she will teach us how to learn many languages at the same time.
95% of people finish school without being able to speak a foreign language. This workshop is for you to see that you can speak any language from the very first day, even complex languages. And hi everybody, welcome to my workshop. My name is Elisa Polese, and I would like to show you how to learn any language without struggling. I don't know, have you ever had a moment where you were learning a language and you said, I don't know, too difficult, or how can I learn better, or so where you thought, okay, how can I make progress? Why I'm not making progress? And if it happened, I would like you to know that you are not alone. It happened to all of us. But I believe that with the right method, anyone can learn any language. And I think it's possible to learn multiple languages at the same time, and that you will get many advantages in terms of efficiency and time. Have you ever learned multiple languages at the same time? I know you're polyglots, but who has already learned multiple languages at the same time? Okay, just. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So my goal for this presentation is to show you how to learn multiple languages at the same time in a fun way. What I'm going to do today is not necessarily what I normally do in my lessons, not 100%, because in this case I don't know you personally, so and lessons depend on the level, on many other things. So I try to do something that you can use from the very first moment, and I hope you will enjoy it. So what's my story? I learned 24 languages, and I brought 13 of them to a teaching level. And my passion is to help people to overcome their fears and to learn, to make progress in the languages they want to learn. For me, languages are really my true passion. Is one of the things I do in my free time, as many of you, I guess. And I studied translation and interpreting first. Then I studied to be a teacher, language teacher. So I have a master in didactics, and I studied international communication. I've been teaching for 20 years now, and my greatest passion is to see that my students make progress and see a big smile when they see that they can actually learn a language and speak it from the very beginning. I published a book called How to Become Fluent in Multiple Languages. And I would like to share something with you. I talked to thousands of people because I want you to know why people always say it's not possible to learn multiple languages at the same time. And even when they don't learn them at the same time, they say that they forget the previous one or once. Actually, when I ask them, okay, so you have this problem, and how often are you speaking the language you learned before, or how often do you speak those languages? And actually, the answer was almost always never. So, of course, if you never speak a language, it's difficult to maintain it and not to mix it up with the language which comes next. So, next time you want to learn similar languages or even different ones, if you keep studying just a bit the language you learned previously, you are not going to forget, you are going to mix it up much less. And then there are many techniques in order not to do that. And one of them is to have clear in your mind what language features the language or languages you want to maintain have, like in order to put them in different drawers in your brain. The second technique is to use them, of course, and to have some moments where you pass from one language to another, where you switch language. Because if you never do it, then your brain will automatically go to the language you know the best or you learned the last. So this is the problem. But it doesn't take, for example, in my case, it doesn't take more than 3 lessons for students to stop mixing languages up. So it's not a long process. Many people think, okay, but it will take me ages. No, you have to train it just a bit so that your brain gets used to it. And the third thing is that you should concentrate on differences, because if you're learning 2 similar languages, the problem is not to remember pensar and pensare. The problem is to remember what is completely different, or in Mauro presentation today, like words which have a different meaning and which can lead to miscommunication. So this is what we should concentrate on. So the truth is that the problem is not that it's impossible to learn them at the same time, just that we have to use them in order to keep them, maintain them, and improve them. Before we start, I wanted to ask, who of you would like to, so is here because would like to know whether this method works and whether you could learn multiple languages at the same time? So I asked who is here in this moment because you wanted to see whether you can find a method to learn multiple languages at the same time. Okay. Okay. And I chose these 3 languages only because I wanted to choose languages as probably you wouldn't speak already. So this is the reason why I chose them. I wanted languages which are considered difficult, because most people think that it's impossible to speak from the very first moment. I can't remember who mentioned in a talk today, but there are sometimes methods with which you start speaking the language years after. And I believe that in order to be motivated and to keep learning languages, we must see progress. And how can you see progress? When you use them, especially if your aim is speaking. Yeah. Okay. So I only have one rule today. One rule, little rule. You have to be as loud as possible. Can you do that? I don't think it's loud enough. Yeah. This is better. Thank you. Okay. So who is? We are going to do all 3 languages, but who is most interested in Greek? Who is more interested in Russian? Who is more interested in Hindi? Okay, so we'll start with the Greek, then go to Russian, then Hindi. Okay. Okay, the rule is to be as loud as possible and repeat it, and I will tell you. Okay, Milao. Very good. Milao Elinika. Okay, so when you see this O at the end, this is a verb. It means I speak. Milao. And this O at the end means, so it's first person, like I. Of course, there are verbs which don't follow this pattern or just in a different way, but this is what is important now. So I cannot teach you 3 languages in half an hour, but I can help you recognize some patterns and to help you to speak them from the beginning. Okay? Milao. So when you will hear the O at the end, it's because you are talking about yourself. Yes? Milao. Milao Elinika. Elinika Greek. Okay? Milao Elinika. So now turn to your neighbor and say, Milao Elinika. Okay. Very good. Okay, so you speak, then you say milas. Milas. So a bit like Spanish, hablas, as, yeah? So instead of milao, you will say milas, okay? And milas, then it's for the person you are talking to, not for you. For you, you will say, and for the person next to you, you will say, okay, so turn to the person next to you and say, do you speak Greek? Okay, yeah, we will do it, we will do it. Okay, very good. So I will ask you, milas Elinika? Very good. So if you wanted to say a bit, you say ligo, ligo. Okay, very good. Ligo. So now let's see other languages. Italica, very difficult. What language is that? Italica. So if you have a look at them, I will make it, I didn't see that it was so small, but if you have a look at them, most of them finish with A. Italica, Germanica, Ellenica. Okay, this is the other pattern you should remember when you want to remember differences between among languages. Okay, so Italica, Anglica, Portugalica. Then a very interesting thing. I don't know whether you know it, but in Greece, when you say ne, you're not saying no, you're saying yes. And the other very confusing thing is that you say, this one means yes. So you do know, you do it like this, but yeah, and it's no. So it's yes, but it looks like no. And it's the same, for example, in Bulgaria. Bulgaria. Yeah, I have a very funny story about that, but maybe another time. And so it's not true. It's a joke. Okay. This is for you to. It's a test. Every now and again, it's just to see whether you remember the things. No, it's not true. Okay. So Mila Selinica. Ne Mila Olinica. Mila Selinica. Ne Mila Olinica. How do you say a bit? Ligo. Again, all of you. Ligo. Okay. Okay. Italica. Gallica. Anglica. Esperanto doesn't change. Hispanica. Germanica. Rosica. Portugalica. Okay, and then the rest will. Okay, so talk to your neighbor and say Milao, and then something like that. Or if you don't speak it, you say then, like in English, then Milao, and then the language. Okay, try for a bit. No, this is not possible. Ligo. In Greek, you can say bravo. Bravo means good. Yeah, actually the same as in Italian. Bravo. Okay. 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 Now I would like you to say chi. Chi means end. So you can say Milao Portugalica, chi Anglica, chi Italica. Okay? Chi. Can you say all together? Chi. It's like che, but there is an I in between. Chi. Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, now what we are going to do, and then now, chi e si means you. E si, you. E si. And it's informal. So now we are going to do a similar thing. You're going to say the language that you speak. You can say Milao Italica, chi Ellenica, chi ta 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 ta. And then you will say chi e si. What does it mean? What does it mean? And you? Yeah? And then your neighbor will, yeah? Can you try? You're almost Greek now. Very good. Even in the back, very, very good. Okay, the last thing I would like you to learn in Greek for now is muaresi. Muaresi, like I like me gusta. Muaresi. Muaresi. Okay. And then, okay, since I cannot teach you the whole language, it's okay for now. Since I can not teach you everything, I would like to teach you something which is really typical in Greek. In Greek, verbs are connected using na. So in other language, in German, sometimes you have zu, but you don't have it in all sentences. But in Greek, as soon as you want to connect two verbs, you use na. Which is very typical. So, and the other very strange thing for me at the very beginning was that they, like in Portuguese, you say vou dançar. So you conjugate the first verb and the second one is an infinitive. But in Greek, there are no infinitive. Infinitive is the first person. So you're going to say, I go, I dance. Yeah. So, and it's very interesting. And so you will say, muaresi, na, and then the verb in the first person. Okay? So how would you say, quiz, how would you say, I like speaking Greek? Wow, Moresi na Milao Elinica. Okay, very good. There is a thing that you will learn, if you continue learning Greek, you will know that After na, you put a present if you're talking about something which is true all the time, and you put subjunctive if it's not true, if it's about the future, okay? But it's not important. Now we said, I like speaking Greek, a long sentence, and you didn't know any Greek before, yeah? Can you tell me again once more, I like speaking Greek? Μου αρέσει να μιλάω ελληνικά. Very good. Okay, now tell the truth to to the person next to you. You don't have to like speaking Greek. You can say another language. So you can say, μου αρέσει να μιλάω, and then you say the language you like. Try. Okay. Very good, very good. Okay. So now 2 more verbs, just to be able to say a bit more, okay? If I could sing, I would sing. I can dance. Okay. Okay, so two more verbs. The verb μαθαίνω, actually, it just means to learn. And the way I would like you to remember is the beginning is math. Yeah? μαθαίνω, okay? It means I learn. So if you want to, you can say, μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω ελληνικά, μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω πορτογαλικά. Okay, so not for you, maybe for me. Yeah? So, μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω. So, for now we know. Μιλάω, μαθαίνω. Μαθαίνω. All of you, μαθαίνω? Μαθαίνω, like math. Okay? And the second one, which is super funny for me, is to travel. Do you like traveling? Yeah? So, ταξιδεύω, like a taxi. Ταξιδεύω. Yeah, very good. So, can you tell the person next to you, μου αρέσει να ταξιδεύω? Okay, now I would like you to make a very long sentence, okay? I know you're ready. So, you can say, talk to your neighbor and say, I like, μου αρέσει να ταξιδεύω και μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω a language, like math, and then μου αρέσει να μιλάω, and then a language, okay? The 3 verbs are μαθαίνω, to learn, μιλάω, and ταξιδεύω. Ταξιδεύω, ταξιδεύω, okay? Try. Μου αρέσει να ταξιδεύω και μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω Ιταλικά. What other? Και μου αρέσει να to speak, how do you say? Μιλάω, να μιλάω αγγλικά, και yeah, yeah, ρωσικά, very good. Okay, and you? Ah, you're ready. Okay, very good. Okay, I want a volunteer. Who would like to say something in Greek? Yeah. What I always say, I like the word in German, freiwillige, and I want my freiwillige, which is not really, who is not really freiwillige. Yeah. Would you like to do?
Sorry. Sorry. Ah. Μιλάω λίγο ελληνικά, δεν μιλάω ιαπωνικά. Μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω dance, ¿cómo se danza? Κορέο. Μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω κορέο.
So it was a bit more complex. Χορεύω is the verb, but that's okay. Okay, okay, very good. Okay. Okay, so small quiz before we go on to the next language. So how do you say, all of you, as loud as possible, I speak Greek? Milao Elinika. How do you say a little? Ligo. How do you say I like learning Greek? Μου αρέσει να μαθαίνω ελληνικά. Very good. How do you say I like traveling? Yeah, μου αρέσει να ταξιδεύω. Okay. And how do you say and? Και. Και. How do you say? Ne. Very good. Okay. How do you connect two verbs? Yeah, very good. What is the ending of some of the verbs in the first person? O. And the verb to speak in the second person? Very good. Okay. So now again, so don't forget it, because if you think that you can just forget it and go to the next language, no, I will ask you again, okay? So don't forget it, remember. Okay, who already speaks Russian, some Russian? Okay, very good, very good. Okay. Я говорю. Я говорю. Do you need a coffee? You don't have any voice anymore. Я говорю. Very good. Okay, so the important part in Russian for me today is to remember that there is you at the end. Okay, many verbs behave in this way. Instead of o in Greek, we will have you. Okay, you. Yeah, you. So we will have something like я говорю. Я люблю. Okay. Я сплю. Okay. Okay, very good. So we will repeat that in a second. Okay, я is not я in German. Я is I. Okay. Я. Я говорю. So you remember, in Greek, you don't have to say, a bit like in Portuguese, you may say I speak, I learn, but you don't have to. In most cases, you have to. So, я говорю. Okay. Okay, when you use the verb, very good, thank you. When you use the verb говорю, and you want to use it together with a language, you have to put pa before a language, okay? In a very rare cases, you will put na. So now forget about na, there is also na. If you are interested in Hindi or in Esperanto, remember na. If you are not interested, just forget it for now. Pa. I didn't write it the way you write it in Russian, because otherwise we would need 3 lessons for that. But the pronunciation is pa. You write it po, but you say pa. Okay? And again, the language itself would be русский. Okay? But when you want to use it together with говорю, you must say pa. Okay? So я говорю русский doesn't work. Я говорю по-русски. Okay, but later, if you want to say, I know the Russian language, then you can use it without pa. But together with the verb speak, you must use pa. Okay? Let's try. По-итальянски, по-французски, по-английски, we will skip for a second. По-испански, по-немецки. What is that? German. Okay, there is a very interesting story about Niemiecki, the origin of the word Niemiecki. Yeah, if you want to ask me later, it's a very nice story. По-немецки, по-русски, по-португальски. Okay, so and if you want to, you can read. Okay, so can you do it again and talk to the person next to you and say я говорю по, and then you can say the languages you want. Okay? So now I would like to share with you something which is typical. There are 2 ways to say and. Okay, this is not 100% true. I want to explain what I mean. If you want to connect 2 languages that you know, you will just say like y, like in Spanish. Yeah, y. But if you want to ask and you, in Russian, when you want to, you are not going to say iti, iti. You're going to say a ty. A ty. Okay, and if you think that the sound is difficult, it's true. But if you, but two things. Two things. First, the most difficult part of this sound is not to make this sound, is to overcome the idea that we are ridiculous when we pronounce it. Okay, but since I'm doing it, look at me. T. Yeah, I'm doing it, so you can do it. Yeah. So, a ty, a ty. Wow, very good, very good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so the difference is that when you, why is that? You use a ty when you want to make a difference, when you want to ask, yeah, remember now only for and you. So for a list, e, but if you want to ask and you, then you will say a ty, okay? Okay. Da is yes. Da, I think you know it. Yeah. How do you say no? Niet. Niet. Okay. Okay. How do any of you? Does any of you know how to say ligo in Russian? Okay. There are two ways: немного, немножко, or чуть-чуть, which is sweet. So I put it there. Чуть-чуть. Чуть-чуть. Okay, chut-chut. Okay, when I put something like that, is because okay, you will chut-chut, chut-chut. Okay, you can say chut-chut, chut-chut. Okay, so the other thing I want to, yeah. Now two verbs. How can you recognize a verb in Russian? At the end, in the infinitive, you have the sound. Okay, so you can say, for example, can you hear the difference, like jest and jest? Okay, I know it's very subtle, but the thing is that this is, in some cases, will be the only difference between the third person in the singular for a verb or the infinitive. But the nice thing is that if you know that, you are going to recognize and spot immediately all the infinitives there. Okay, and what you're going to normally, when you have an infinitive, when you have this kind of transcription, you have an apostrophe, yeah, but otherwise it's called the soft sign. Okay, let's learn a couple of verbs. You will guess the meaning by what I do. Okay, tanzivat, t, like tanzen in German, tanzen, tanzivat, tanzivat, tanzivat. Okay, then this one is spa. Spach. Imagine that you relax in a spa. Yeah? Spach. Okay? Spach. Are you playing with my presentation? No, can you leave it there? Thank you. Okay, so how do you say I speak? Я говорю. Okay, do you remember how to say, I just said it once, so I don't expect you to remember. How do you say I love? Люблю. How to remember that? Imagine this, you, yeah? Люблю. Imagine that. Люблю. Can you say it again? Yeah, very good. Can you also do it with your hand because it helps the brain? Люблю. Very good. So, what you're going to do after that, you're not going to do like in Greek that you use the first person. You're going to use an infinitive. So how was tanzivat? Again. Tanzivat. Tanzivat. And this one? Yeah, very good. Okay, and another funny one is to prepare food, готовить. So imagine that you're preparing a gatto, yeah, готовить, yeah, готовить. So I love cats, so I wouldn't do that, but готовить, for you to remember. So, how do you say, for example, I love cooking? Я люблю готовить. Я люблю танцевать. Okay, so talk to the person next to you and say that you like all three things, okay? Okay, so one of the last things you're going to do for Russian, so that you can speak a bit more, is to remember that the first person you're going to say, the ending, you, yeah? Lubliu, spliu, gavariu, okay? The second person is going to be gavarish, 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 tu gavarish, tu gavarish. And don't worry about the sound. It's about making it and then again and again, yeah? Tu gavarish, okay? So can you ask the person next to you, ты говоришь по-русски, ты говоришь по-португальски, ты говоришь yeah? I already see many experts now, yeah? Okay, so let's test it, okay? Okay, I speak, how do you say I speak Russian? Wow, you speak Russian. Танцевать, танцевать. Look at my way of cooking. How do you say cooking? No, it was a joke. How do you say it was me doing an omelette? Готовить. Yeah, the готовить. To sleep? Yeah. I love sleeping. Я люблю. Я люблю cooking. Готовить. Готовить. Okay, готовить. Okay, how do you say a little bit? And in Greek? Ligo. What do you put before languages in Russian? Yeah. Okay, how do you say you in Russian? А ты. Very good. А ты. And if you're making a list of languages, and is I. Okay, very good. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's revise Greek. I speak Greek, okay? I speak. Milao. I speak Greek. Yeah. Do you speak Greek? Very good. Do you speak Portuguese? Portugalica. Yeah. And que. Imagine que and then que. And you? Que si. Like this. We are not going to learn the same 100%, okay? Why? Because I don't believe that the languages are a copy one of the other. Yeah, so we start learning a language in first according to we're not going to learn, I don't know, some pretérito do futuro. Yeah, we're not going in the first lesson, okay? It doesn't exist. I was thinking of Portuguese. So we have to start learning something which makes sense that we can use from the very beginning, that can be useful, okay? So I really would like you to make a distinction now between two things which will sound a bit the same, okay? One is mera, which is my, okay? Mera. And then it will be something like man. Okay, they start in a very similar way, but remember that mera today you will only find it with mera naam, okay, and which will be my name, okay. Mera naam, only mera naam. We are not going to do anything else but mera naam with mera, and all the other things that we are going to do are with man, okay. So we were going to remember. So mera means my or I. My. Okay, this is the most important thing I would like to remember. Otherwise, we will start mixing the two things. Okay? Mera. Okay, now you're all going to say your name in Hindi. Okay? You're going to say Mera naam, then your name, and then you will say Hai. Okay, we're going to play karate. We're going to say Hai. Yeah. Okay. To do karate. So the very peculiar thing in Hindi that you have the verb to be in almost any sentence, even in sentences that we don't even think it's possible. So in this case, you're going to say my name is, okay? But in another case, you're going to say like I speak Hindi is, okay? I speak Hindi am, okay? So the verb to be is going to be there in most cases. So now we're going to say Mera naam hai. So now say your name. So don't listen to the neighbor, otherwise he will say another name. Mera naam hai. And when you do hai, open you're going to do hai. So, So again, once more. Okay. So remember that this hai is the third person of the verb to be. Okay? This is important. Okay. 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 Now I will ask you the question, but you don't have to remember the question. Yeah. Aapka naam kya hai? And then you will say Mera naam. Yeah, just to remember, we will use it more later. Just someone will ask you that, and you will say, "Mera naam hai." Okay. The other thing I would like you to now we are going to use man. Okay, man. So there is a bit of a nasal sound at the end. Man. Okay, and it's an open e. Yeah, e. Man. Because if it's not open, it means in. Okay, man. Okay, now the construction is a bit like in German, in some cases in German. So you put the object in the sentence, not after the verb. So you're going to say, for example, if you want to say I speak Hindi, you say I Hindi speak am. Yeah. So two things. When you say hey, you're going to it's the third person of the verb to be. If you want to say am, like I am, it's who. Very sad who. Again, who. Okay. Okay. मैं Hindi, and then if you're a man, you're going to say bolta. If you're a woman, you're going to say bolti. So remember one of them. You don't need to both of them now. Okay, bolta and bolti. That one means speak. Okay, but verbs will change, will change according to the gender. Okay, and according to respect form. So bolti for women and bolta for men. So you're going to say मैं Hindi, and then bolta bolti, and then am. How do you say am? Who. Very good. So all together. Hindi, bolta bolti, who. Okay, very good. So now talk to the person next to you and say that you speak Hindi. Fantastic. Okay. Good news. Many languages look just the same, and they are pronounced like in the English way. Italian, Francese, Angrisi, Spanish, German, okay, Rusi, okay. So talk to the person. Yeah, Basha, it's Bhasha, it means language, okay. So can you talk to the person next to you and use no, you don't have to use all of them, only the languages you're interested in, okay? Can you try to use? I speak, and then any of these are other languages. Most of them are like in English. Okay, very good. Okay, small test. How do you say my name in Hindi? Mera naam. So, and can you all say your name, please? Hey. Okay. Hey means is or am. And how do you say I am? Who. Hey. Yeah. Who. Hey. Okay. How do you say I speak Hindi? Yeah. So for men, we'll say bolta. Women. Very good. Me means I or my. I. How do you say my? Very good. Okay. Yeah, I think perfect. Now, test for all languages and we are done. Okay? I speak in Greek now. I speak Greek. Yeah. Okay. I like Moaresi. I like speaking Greek. Moaresi na milao elinika. So what is the word that you use to connect to verbs? Na, very good. And how do you say you speak in Greek? Milas. Okay. And how do you say I like to learn? Na, namatheno, like math, namatheno. Very good. And to travel, I like traveling. Taxidevo. Very good. Hindi again. How do you say my name is? Hey. I speak Hindi. Very good. Very good. Okay, Russian. How do you say I speak Russian? And you? А ты? А ты? Yeah? And sorry, you speak? Ты говоришь. Ты говоришь. So, how do you say? Do you speak Russian? How do you say? A little bit in Russian? And in Greek? Yeah, very good. Okay, perfect. So I think you did great, and you started speaking languages which are considered difficult from the very first moment. I know that when you learn a language, of course, so for me the point was not to remember things by heart, was to understand some patterns so that you can use them later if you keep learning the language, for example. Yeah, so this is why it's important not only to remember the word, but to remember that it's gavariu, gavarish, yeah, or that when you have a list you put I, otherwise you say a, ty. And the same was for Greek, milao, milas, okay? So this is it was important. So I don't believe in learning sentences by heart, because I cannot, at least, I cannot memorize thousands of sentences, but I understand, so I think it's very useful to understand the pattern behind languages, and in this case you couldn't see too much the advantage of learning multiple languages at the same time, although I think that you can actually, because when we activate the brain in one direction and we do a similar thing in the other language, it's easier anyway, even if the language is not the same. But if it was the same type, the same family, the language belonged to the same family, you'd have seen how quickly you would have picked it up. I think that's it. Thank you very much. And if you have questions, I'm here. I don't know. I think, yeah.
Do you have questions?
Paruski. Hi, I'm Cristiano. My question is, how manage to learn a lot of language at the same time when you have a few time to do it?
So actually, I think it's no one has lots of time. I think when we were children, we thought we had the all time in the world, but as adults, we never have time. First of all, no one has time. We have to make time. The second thing is that I firmly believe that the important thing is not to learn many hours in a row, but to learn in a constant way. Because if you learn, like, let's say that you walked 1 kilometer per day, after 1 year you would have walked 365 kilometers, which is a lot, even for people who don't like walking. So but if you really don't want, so the difference is that I think most people don't learn a language because they study a lot at the beginning, they're very motivated, and then maybe life, and then they have a complicated moment in life and they stop learning. So actually the secret is to learn just a little bit every day, because when we learn every day, even just for 5 minutes, doing the right things, what happens is that we see, first we don't forget what we have learned. Because if we spend the time learning something and then we don't do anything for 2 months, we will feel so demotivated afterwards that we will not go back learning. It's frustrating to see how much we forget. So, but if you learn 5 minutes every day, since languages are systems, words are repeated. So it's not that you learn one word and then you will never see it again. If you never see it again, it's because it was not important. But if it was important, you will see it over and over again. And this is why it's important to do really just a bit every day, and you will just see that you go forward. It's impossible to go backwards when you do 5 minutes every day. Yeah, and when I really believe in those 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is not a lot, but normally what I do is that I decided to have a minimum amount of time that I know it's sustainable. And then if I can do more, it's okay. But sometimes we just feel frustrated if we say, we'll study for 2 hours. And then on that day, I come home and I'm very tired. Oh, no, tomorrow we'll do 2 hours, 30 minutes, and it will never happen. Okay, so it's much, much better to do 5 minutes every day. You feel happy about that, and you will feel happy because you will see that after 1 week, no matter what, you will have learned much more than what you knew before, and you will not have forgotten what you knew before.
Hello. Do you have any particular trick or your method to train your vocabulary in so many languages? Do you have
Sorry,
any?
I cannot hear again.
Do you have any method or any particular trick to study or to train your vocabulary in so many, like, posted around your house, or I don't know, or repeated a word 10 times a day? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I tried many things, and I think that everything is great as long as you enjoy it. Okay, because there is no one method, no method fits all. Okay, it's very important that you do what you enjoy. The problem with stickers, at least in my opinion, is that after a while you don't even notice them. Yeah, because after a while you know that there is a sticker, but you don't know anymore what is written on it. But if it works for you, maybe. What I do is that I try to see the language in different contexts, and it's really what helps me to remember all the words I know. Because and doing things that I enjoy. For example, important words always come up again, over and over again. Let's say that you read a text and you see a couple of words which concern a topic you like. What is a topic you like? Yeah, animals. Then you decide to read another article because you find it interesting. The article is not the same, but you will see similar words because the topic is the same. So you're going to revise the words, so doing it in a not boring way, because you're not going to read the same article over and over again. You're going to do something similar that you still enjoy, and you will. Then you say, no, okay, enough reading. I don't want to read. I feel tired. I want to listen. Then you listen something about the same topic. So you see the same words over and over again without having to sit there and memorize them. In some cases, lists can work if in a particular time in my life I use them, but if I said that I use it for all the languages, not true. I really prefer seeing the words in context, because you can also see how words are used, because in many languages not just a matter of translating one word into another, it's really a matter of knowing when to use it, and this is why seeing it in context is the best way to learn.
I would like to make a question myself.
Yeah.
If someone is learning like 4 languages at the same time, they will have to split the time in those 4 languages. Is it faster to learn those 4 languages in sequence or simultaneously? Because I don't know, maybe you can dedicate to one language, then to the other, then to the other, instead of simultaneously?
It depends on many factors. If you, first of all, it depends how experienced you are in learning other languages. If you're already a polyglot and you know how to learn languages and you want to add more languages, learning in parallel can speed up the process. But if you're a bit new to languages, you know one language you want to add 4. In that case, I would say don't learn them at the same time because it can be very confusing. But you must have times where you use them one after the other. Otherwise, in order to be able to switch from one language to the other, like the wonderful interpreters do, they have to they train to switch from one language to another. And it's of course not. It's not always. You don't have to do it the whole time, all the time in your life. But there will be context. Let's say that you are learning for work. You cannot say to your client, "Sorry, I spoke Japanese 5 minutes ago. You have to wait until tomorrow." Okay, you you have to be able to switch. Yeah, and this is why it's important to. I normally say, if you learn on your own, if I learn on my own, I learn them separately. But I have moments where I compare them. If they are similar languages, I have to focus on differences and understand the similarities so that I can speed up my process. So that because the problem when we mix up languages is because we don't have clear in our head what, if you remember 100%, let's say that for example, an example for Italian. Italian second person, first person always o at the end, verbs, like parlo, voglio, credo, mangio, o, all the time. Second person always, so in Italian way, I, so I, I. And there are no, so even in irregular verbs, this is the rule. Okay, and this doesn't happen in all languages. In Italian, it's really consistent. What that means that if you have that clear in mind, you are not going to mix it up with any other language because O is O and I is I. But that one must be like we did before. To connect the verbs in Greek, you have to use what? Na. So if you know that, you're not going to think, na is Russian. Impossible. In that case, it must be Greek. So you're not going to mix languages up in this way, concentrating, focusing on differences and understanding similarities. And then, so in that sense, if you learn them at the same time, in parallel, it's very useful, for example, in classes. When I do it, I teach separately, or if I think its topic it's very similar, I teach it at the same time. Because when you see how to conjugate verbs in Latin Romance languages, it's much better to do it all together. You don't have to go over and over again, the same thing, and then it's much quicker. But for things which have nothing to do to each other, you don't have to torture yourself doing a comparison, making a comparison.
Hi.
Hi.
मेरा नाम जुरुबाला है. Well, first a comment. I remember that is a very powerful strategy to make some connections in between words, even though that makes no sense at all. Like, for example, in Italian, you have a word that is, it's impossible to forget it, like cassetto. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's impossible, yeah. And like, for example, in Japanese, you have karai, like spicy or hot. So you won't forget it, never. Karai is like spicy or hot, or all right. So nowadays, I'm traveling, I'm a nomad, and let's say I have no passport, I have no job, no money. So most part of the time, I had no internet. So how to learn? Mm-hmm. And I needed to choose in between watching Dragon Ball Z and studying Libras through internet. And I chose to study Libras. Even though I was traveling like Latin America, you know, and enhancing my Spanish. So it's possible. You find time. You create it. It's possible. And my question is, among all the languages you ever tried, which one would you say that was more of a challenge? Let's say, which one was woo, this is crazy. All right, that's the question. So
crazy, I never thought it's crazy, maybe very interesting or very different. A language is different depending how distant it is from the other languages we know. When I learned Russian, it was quite of a shock because in my opinion, and not only my opinion, there are more exceptions than rules. So you learn a rule, you think, I know everything now, and then you understand that the rule is actually almost the rare thing, and then all the other things happen much more frequently than what you learned as a rule. But so maybe Russian, but then really it depends. For example, I think Japanese is completely different from my culture, but it's the reason why I find it so interesting. So it's the culture behind the language which makes it really interesting. So it really depends. But crazy never, because language is a culture, and for me it's very important. So for me all languages are interesting. But yeah, difficult. Or the first time I saw the word order, I understood the word order in Sinhalese, and then I understood it was similar way in Hindi. My way to describe it was put the words in the shaker and then you have the result. But it's not true. There is actually in Hindi, this is when I didn't know the language. Because when we don't know a language, we always say, I understand it, but just they speak too fast. We don't understand it because we are learning. But at some point, when we learn that language, it will not seem so fast anymore. I remember when I was studying Russian, I listened to some audio files, and I thought, this is really fast. And 2 years later, I listened to it and said, what? Really fast? And for me, it was super slow. So it's really a matter of of how well we know a language.
Não seria bem uma pergunta, mas acho que de repente uma complementação do que ela falou ali sobre, desculpa, sobre como ter técnicas para desenvolver a aprendizagem de vocabulário. Eu lembro quando eu comecei a dar aula, né, os alunos tinham muita dificuldade de gravar, memorizar. E eu falei assim, gente, vamos fazer o seguinte, todo mundo na próxima aula vai trazer uma agenda telefônica. Para que agenda telefônica? Maluca? Tá querendo que a gente anote o telefone de todo mundo e tal? Traga uma agenda telefônica. Aí tudo bem, todo mundo trouxe. E aí eu falei assim, pode ser pequena, grande, do tamanho que vocês quiserem. Então, cada um trouxe a sua, quem não trouxe, organizou o caderno daquela forma. E eu falei assim, então, a partir de agora, as palavras novas que vocês aprenderem, e que vocês gostarem dessas palavras, ou então que vocês acham que vão ser mais difíceis de vocês lembrar, vocês vão anotar nessa agenda telefônica e vão botar a tradução se vocês acharem necessário. E aí, quando você tiver com aquele tempo livre, né, numa fila de banco, numa viagem de ônibus, né, você vai pegar a sua agenda, vai começar a folhear e vai começar a ler as palavras. Então, assim, tipo uma tática para os alunos memorizarem o vocabulário que eles estavam aprendendo daquele idioma. Né? E foi uma coisa que funcionou, e vários alunos depois vieram falar, poxa, professora, aquilo que você ensinou, olha, eu tenho minha agendinha até hoje, meu próprio dicionário. Quer dizer, cada um estava confeccionando o seu próprio dicionário.
Yeah, if they choose words that are important to them, that are useful to them, if you choose random words, it's not going to be super useful because you are not going to be able to make sentences or make sentences which make sense for you. But if you choose words which mean something to you, that you find cute or interesting, then for sure it's going to be useful to be, yeah.
Any more questions, people? Alguma pergunta mais adicional? Não? A última pergunta do dia, vamos lá, juro bola.
The best question ever. Which languages? Which languages you teach?
Which languages? You can see it on my website, but anyway, I teach. I will read Russian, French, Dutch, Catalan, Spanish, English, German, Italian, Greek, Esperanto, Arabic, but only beginner levels, Hindi, and Portuguese, but not C1 level.